Welcome back to the Shantima podcast. If you're enjoying the show, head on over to iTunes and leave a review. Your kind words go a long way when it comes to supporting the show. You can also support the Shantima podcast by donating through Patreon at patreon.com/Shantima. With your donations, I will upgrade the sound and video quality, making sure you get the best experience possible. Today's episode is brought to you by Govinda. He is the composer and producer of the Shantima podcast intro song, Om Tare. So if you like what you are hearing, I would highly recommend checking out his other music. You can find his music on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Bandcamp. You can also follow him on Instagram at Govinda Adventures and at Govinda Music on Facebook. Go on, give him a follow. Today on the show, we have a fan favorite. It is over Zoom, so it is not studio quality, but nevertheless, it is a very interesting and insightful conversation. Without further ado, please give it up for my good friend Lalji, also known as Amritanshu Mishra. Welcome back.
Namaste ji. How are you?
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Shyam.
Good. Thanks for coming back on the show. And we'll make sure we actually record the video this time.
Okay.
Third time's a charm. So today, I wanted to have you. I wanted to have you on the show to talk about Patanjali and some of his concepts through the Yoga Sutras. I guess some people would say that these are more like yogic philosophy. And it's definitely been something that I've been thinking a lot about and trying to understand. And I thought you'd be the perfect person to ask who is Patanjali and what his story is.
Okay.
I hear you have a story.
Patanjali is considered to be the originator of Sanskrit grammar, what we call Vyakaran in Sanskrit. So if you go to his lifestyle, like how he was born and how his life was, that is like kind of in a story. So people in India, they love to tell the facts in stories because you can pick up the concepts from the stories and make it your own truth. No need to stick to the story. So, okay, let's listen to this beautiful story of Patanjali. What happened? Thousands of years ago, there was a celibate. She was a yogini, you can say. So one day in the morning, she was paying tribute to the sun with her open palms, open hands in the air. And suddenly a leaf in the air starts falling, and it fell on her open palms. So leaf in Sanskrit called pata, and open palms is known as anjali. So that leaf, which was in the form of a snake, fell in the hands of Gomini, that brahmacharini. And this is how he got the name Patanjali. So when this little snake baby, it fell into the palms of this yogini, she asks him, "Hey, Ko Bhavan, who are you?" He looks at her, he said, Sappoham, Sappoham. I am the snake, I am the snake. And she says, "Oh, Rafa Kwagata." She means to say, in Sanskrit, you say Sarp, not Sap. And you are saying Sappoham. So where did R go? And the small snake says, Tvam Harasi. You took it. Because when she asked him, Ko Bhavan. It should be in Sanskrit, Kor Bhavan. So she didn't say the Ra sound in that. She said, Ko Bhavan. This is why the snake replied, Sappoham, not Sarpoham. Then she asked, where did R go? And he says, you took it when you asked me Ko Bhavan. So this is a beautiful story how it starts. And now Patanjali, he said, I'm not going to speak truth, unless until I get 1,000 people around me. Then I will say something. And also there is one more condition on that, that there'll be a screen and I will be speaking from behind the screen so no one can see me. And no one is allowed to lift the screen. I said, okay. So somehow that time, 1,000 people, Brahmins, Pandit, yogis, they gathered to know the truth of life, to know the truth of God. And there was a screen, and behind that screen there was Patanjali. And
Hmm.
Patanjali he started saying shlokas, what we call Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Atha Yoga Anushasanam, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Some of the people, they started noting it down on the leaf. Uh, and some people, they got in trance, they started dancing. Some people, they went into samadhi. So there was one Brahmin guy, he was saying, what is happening? Who is talking from behind the screen? So he had this curiosity within him. So he went and lifted up the curtain, lift the screen, and suddenly he saw the snake with 5 hoods and with a fire coming from his mouth. And when he saw this, everyone got scared, and all these leaves on which they were writing, they flew in the air. And Patanjali disappeared after that. And these people, they started collecting those leaves. They collected almost all the leaves, but where they didn't find the leaves, they write that goat ate those leaves. There were goats, so there were leaves. So even when they got scattered on the ground, some goats, they came and they started eating the leaves. So some of the sutras has been eaten by the goats. So for that, you can come to those sutras which have been eaten by the goats by your own self. Huh? Go within yourself and see where's that sutra which is missing. So this was a small story of Patanjali, which means, which totally means that Patanjali says that if you want to see the truth, it is here, it is now, it has always been here. Whatsoever happens in this world happens in the truth, but we don't catch it because we are identified with the world, with the mind modifications, not with who we are. The time we see who we are, we get jumped from the space and the mind, the time and the space, the time, mind and the body, and become the one seer of the whole universe. This is what Patanjali says. Tadadrashtu sarupe avasthanam. When you cease all the mind activities, you become situated in who you are, what your truth is. That's it. This is Patanjali Yoga Sutra in a short form I've
Hmm.
discussed.
So was Patanjali was the little baby snake?
Hmm.
Okay. And so nobody actually has ever seen Patanjali because
Hmm.
he was behind the screen. So I've heard different stories about Patanjali being, was it Shiva or Vishnu? Like what? There's like
Patanjali is called Sheshanag. Nag
hmm,
means the one snake which is protecting Vishnu with 5 hoods. Okay, so if you go to the concept, this body, it has 5 elements. You know what are those elements? Earth, water, fire, air, space.
mhm,
These 5 elements have their own power. Earth has a power of smell. Water has a power of taste. Fire has a power to see, light. Air has a power to touch. And space has a power of sound. So these 5 powers out of these 5 elements. So where is Patanjali in you? Right now our palms are closed. We are so much stressed. Open your arms, open your palms, and see what
hmm,
is there in the open arms, in this emptiness, in this beautiful field where nothing exists, and that nothing is doing everything. It's not a concept. In fact, if you see within yourself, even right now, if you talk about patterns of Patanjali, that okay, what is yoga? Well, yoga is now is the discipline of yoga, atha yoga anushasanam. So how to do yoga? Then when someone asks this, he says yoga is the cessation of mind activities. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Then okay, when there are no chitta vritti, when there are no patterns of mind, then what is there? Then he says tada drashtu sarupe avasthanam. That time you become the seer of everything. That is you. This is what he's talking about. Then you ask him that okay, what are these patterns you're talking about of this consciousness, what we call mind? What are these patterns? So Patanjali describes these patterns are of 5 kinds. praman, viparya, vikalp, nidra, and smriti. You know things by direct encounter with your senses. When you know about things by your direct senses, by seeing, by touch, that is known as praman, evidence. Viparya, viparya mithyaganam metadru pratishtitam. When viparya means when you project something in something else. Okay, like there is a rope, and that rope you project a snake. But I say this projection, when you understand something else other than what has been said. For example, we are talking about the truth, the form, about who we are. I'm saying words, but what you understand depends on your understanding. You see that thing, what you under I am talking about that by which you understand. You are thinking about that, what you getting through the words that I am that.
Like
I'm
my
not talking about
like my perception based on my own life experiences. My perception is going to change how I perceive and understand what you're saying.
Exactly. See, perception, when you talk about perception, when there is a perception without a personality, what is the quality of perception? Now that's the thing. When you look at something, first you create your image, then you create the image of that thing, what you're looking at, and then there is a connection.
So,
but
are we talking about avidya, dukha? Is that what we're talking about?
Avidya. Wow, very nice. Now you
Because
bring the topic avidya.
yeah, because what I was this is something I've been thinking about, but what I was going to say is we do have a lot of beginners to Vedic teachings listening. So let's before we get deep into some of these concepts, let's come back and explain a simplified version of what avidya dukha cycle is.
Avidya. If you want to understand it simply, what is avidya? So you can say it means misunderstanding. Just misunderstanding. What does that mean, misunderstanding? Like misunderstanding yourself as a body, as a mind, as a thought pattern. That was the only misunderstanding, that I am trapped. Now I have to be free. First you believe that you are in trap. Now there is another belief coming that you have to be free from this trap, which is coming from the thought of trap itself. You see, oh, I have done very nice karmas. Oh, I will get the nice result. Oh, I have done the bad karmas. I have done so many sins, so I will face that. But if you come to Vedanta, karma has no role. It means you only misunderstood that you do. You are not the doer, and you are not the experiencer. See this thing. This is the truth. Now you say, talk about Vedant in a very simple form. So Vedant goes on three principles, and very simple principles. First thing, there can be no effect without a cause. Is it clear?
Okay.
Very clear. Every effect must have a cause. So there can be no effects without a cause. First rule, remember that. Now second rule of Vedanta. Effects are nothing but cause itself in different forms. Oh my God, what am I talking? What am I talking right now? You see, this is Vedanta I am talking right now. Effects are nothing but cause itself in different forms. Oh, I feel stressed. Oh, I feel happy. Oh, I feel trapped. Oh, I feel so lively. Shivoham, Shivoham. All these effects have a same cause. Effects are nothing but the cause itself in different forms. So this principle is destroying the principle of duality. Now the third principle comes. If you take cause out of the effect, nothing remains. Nothing remains. Three basic principles of Vedanta. So, mind patterns, mind modifications, are they effects or are they cause? Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's solve it here.
So, okay. I want to make sure that I'm understanding. So, avidya means misunderstanding and the misidentification of the material body being this is who I am. That is, am I understanding?
Avidya means, yeah. Avidya, you can simply say a conditioned mind.
Okay, so avidya is a conditioned mind. So basically, how I grew up, my parents, the country, religion that's influenced me, friends, any experiences I've had have conditioned my mind to see the world in a specific, unique way. And that for me is avidya. Okay. Is that correct?
See, what you know the world through the eyes of others is not the fact of the world. No, first you have to accept this truth. Okay, you were born in a different family, Canadian mom, maybe, Latin father. That is not important, but what they told you and what you believed. That, okay, you are a Canadian. Now, first thing starts that I am a Canadian. On that Canadian, I am a woman. On that woman, I am this, and I want to do this. You see these conditionings you have set up in your head, that what you want to do in your life, not knowing what is life.
Okay.
We live all our life. You have lived, I have lived. But if I ask you, what is life? Then the question is still unanswered. We are in it. So what I say, what I share is like, you are that bliss, and for that you don't have to attain it. Start living it from this moment itself. There is no way of seeking yourself. The only way to know yourself is to live yourself, and to live that thing. What I'm talking about, to live that, to live that freeness, which everyone is seeking in different forms. That I want to be free, I want to be free, I want to be free. And this freeness have different objects. Okay, when I get money, then I might be free. Okay, if I serve people, then I might be free. Okay, and if I do yoga and samadhi, then I might be free. So people should understand, if you talk about yoga, okay, and if you don't understand the whole yoga concept, then it is of no use. Because what is yoga? Yoga says that, what is this world, what is this mind? It is like a wave in the ocean. This mind, what we have as me and you, this is a wave. So when these waves are totally settled down in the ocean itself, what remains? The ocean itself remains, which is the wave and as well as the ocean. The cause is the effect. You see, effects are nothing but cause itself in different forms. There is a clay, there is a gold. You can make ornaments with that. You can make nose ring, you can make bangles, anklets, whatever you like to. But what is the cause in these ornaments? The cause is gold. Cause itself in different forms. Forms are different, but the cause is one. So there can be no ornaments without a cause. Cause is gold. Effects are nothing but cause itself in different forms. So gold in different forms. If you remove cause out of the effect, if you take gold out of the ornaments, nothing remains. So when you say that, who am I? You start seeking it. You have done that. You have done that a lot. I want to ask you, what have you found after all the seeking you have been doing from all these years?
Are you actually asking me, or is this a hypothetical? Oh yeah, okay, you're asking me. Okay. Sorry, wait, what was the question again?
Oh my God. My question was, I feel like you were seeking once in your life when you came to Vrindavan. So when you went to this process of seeking, what have you found out?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, when I came to Vrindavan the first time, I was 22, and I was seeking, I think I was seeking some sort of proof.
Hmm.
I was seeking some sort of proof of God. I needed to know that there was something beyond my material existence, because from a young age, I had always questioned a higher power. And to me, life felt very cold and purposeless without the idea of there being a higher power of some kind. And so when I first came to Vrindavan, I wanted to experience that. Um, and actually, when I first went to Vrindavan, I don't think I actually even knew what I was getting myself into. It was after I was there that I started to seek and want to know Krishna and this idea of something beyond me. I wanted to see, I wanted to feel. And I had these moments where I felt and saw things. But I think after, the harder I looked, especially by the time we all got to Puri, when we were in Jagannath Puri, I was so desperate to know God that it became further and further and further away from me. And I became more and more and more frustrated. And then I went through a few years of kind of hell, just life. And then now, being a little older and wiser, I realized not to have expectations. I believe there's something, but I also know that I know nothing. And at the end of the day, I still can't prove one way or another what is life, what is God, and all of that. Who knows? Ask me again in 10 years, Lalji.
No, Baba, sorry, I don't stretch these things into time zone. Let's solve it now. so, so one thing. I'm not going to ask about seeking. I'm going to ask about the seeker. Is it there, seeker, who was seeking God?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me, can you look into the seeker and tell me that how seeker is different from the seeking?
See, when you ask me questions like that, my brain breaks.
This is what I'm talking about. You know, his brain needs to stop functioning and be silent. And oh my God, this is what I'm talking about. See, oh my God, see, Patanjali, you take yoga, you take Vedanta, you take bhakti, whatever method you take. But remember this thing: the one rule. The one rule is the happiness. You must have heard it even before. Happiness comes from inside. You're talking about avidya and vidya, so I'm explaining that happiness comes from inside. But what we think that it is coming from the person, it is coming from the situation, it is coming from the specific place, we put conditioning on that this happiness is coming because of this reason. This is avidya.
Okay.
This is avidya. You meet someone and say, oh, because of this person, I feel so much love in me. But you forget that person is just a medium. Love happened within you, not from that person. But what happens? We make that person so important that we forget about that feeling which is coming from inside. And we start thinking that this feeling depends on this person. This is avidya. But this situation, this is avidya.
Right. That, like, so I can liken that to like the early stages of love, because, or love, quote unquote, air quotes, people. What I'm referring to is that so often we meet someone And actually, one of my guests that I had on, Tamal Dodge, was talking about this. You meet someone and you're like, oh my God, I love you. You're so amazing. And we could never fight. And then all of a sudden, after some time, you start realizing, no, there's things about you that are actually kind of really starting to get under my skin. But when you first initially meet someone, you're so like enamored by them. And I think what often happens too is you get so caught up in this idea of this other person making you happy that you stop taking care of yourself and you stop finding happiness within yourself. And then you get like a drug addict where like that person is the drug and you're like so addicted to them and like you got to have it. And if they don't give it to you, you're going to freak out and like until you get your next fix. And like, it's crazy. Is that Avidya?
That's what.
Acha Baba.
Now you're talking from experience. So this is when you talk from experience, like, okay, I projected something, viparya, something else into something else. I thought that this love is coming from this thing or this person or this situation. But now I realize it was wrong. It was wrong because I spent a lot of time with that person. Now I don't feel that way. Why? So one thing is for sure, he was not the reason for love. His behavior was not the reason for love. That was something else. There was something else, undefinable. And that something is always here, Baba. We are born in with that something. The problem is we believe that we are born. See, try to understand what I'm saying. The problem is I believe that I was born and I will die. That was the procedure. That was the procedure in which this body was born. But the consciousness has the ability to see the uselessness of everything.
Okay. Wait, I'm going to come back to something I was just reading because I just started like reading the introduction in the Bhagavad Gita because I am attempting to read it again. And what Srila Prabhupada was talking about was exactly that human beings, it is our duty to differentiate ourselves from other animals and to realize that we are here for a reason, to realize who we are, but we're never born and we never die. And that we don't actually have the ability to comprehend. We don't have the ability to comprehend like something that the super soul or super consciousness or whatever you want to call God, we don't have the capacity to understand things from that nature because we are bound by material laws. And we're attached to the fruits of our activities.
I will say like in a more clear way that we believe that we are attached. This is why we believe that we have to break this attachment. We make this attachment so important that now we feel that, oh, we want to break all these attachments. We don't realize in breaking all these attachments, we are developing attachment with the non-attachment. See, you see that. No, I don't want this. Even in Gita, you quoted Gita. In Gita, Krishna says, कर्मण्यवादी कारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन ते संगोस्तव कर्मणि मा कर्म फल हेतुर भूर्मा. That normally they translate it like Manushya, human, has a right in doing karma, not in the fruits. Okay? And by knowing this, when you know this, don't become lazy. Don't become the non-doer. Oh, everything happens on its own. Oh, I am just a seer. You see that. You say, oh, I am the realized person now. There is nothing left to do for me. Oh, bullshit. You see, don't be akarmi that I will not do things. This is not what he means. He says, karmanyavadi karaste ma phaleshu kadachan. Human has the right in the karma, not in the fruits. Now, can you tell me the gap between the karma and its result and its consequence. Where is the gap? Right now, whatever you are doing, is it a karma or is it a fruit? My God, you see, we have to make our see that in ourselves. Where is the karma and where is the result? And when you see, both disappears and you start happening in that moment. You start questioning things. You don't know from where questions are coming from. It's a flow. In that flow, you join the flow, you join that harmony, and you are happening with that harmony. But again, at the same time, you have nothing to do with that wave. Nothing. These two things are happening simultaneously. I mean, everything and nothing at the same time.
So, are you referring to? I'm trying to, in my own mind, understand what you're saying. And are you kind of referring to as if we are all just drops of water from this big ocean, but don't realize that we are also the ocean? Am I understanding this? Like,
I'm saying we all are the ocean, believing that we are the drop.
okay. Okay. So, well, okay, because here's the thing. For the average person, we enter into this blissful state in yoga and meditation. And, then we have to, most of us, unless you've perfected this, or maybe you're full of shit and just say you've perfected this. But, the thing is, we have to return back to the external world, which is chaotic and like, it's, I feel like that yoga and meditation is like a temporary solution for stress. But until we change our mental patterns, we are going to keep returning to that stress and chaos and everything else that arises in the mind that stresses us out. So how can people use the space created during these moments to examine their mental unrest and to change these patterns?
Okay, first let's start with the yoga itself. You say, okay, we do yoga, we do meditation, then again we fall back into the same mind patterns after some time. Mm-hmm. And now we have to come to the real world and function in here. So how is it possible with yoga? Okay, so if you see yoga, Baba, yoga, the word itself means union with the self, or union with the infinite, or union with the bliss, or union with the God, or union with the truth, whatever you like to call it. So Baba, in the second sloka, when yoga is saying yoga is the cessation of mind patterns. So when yoga is the cessation of mind patterns, then there is no question of coming back into the worldly patterns. You will be in the world, but not like the world. You will be functioning in the same world, but not anymore as what your name is and what your personality is. Now there is no more self-image of you in you. That the one who was making the image has been gone. That thing is. So understand yoga. Yoga is not just sitting and meditating and all that. See, when you know the mind patterns, right, that moment you become free from it. See, when you realize that you are not the mind pattern, none of it, neither the sleep, nor the memory, nor the viparra, nor the evidence, none of it. In that moment, you can do any action completely and freely. There is no conflict in that action because there is no doer in that action. There is no thought that you are doing something. The totality of you is doing something. So when the totality of you is doing something, there is no question of stress or the world, or what we call that we are back in the world. What do you mean by that? Okay, we say, okay, we are back in the world. Now I have my image, and with this image I have to deal with all these images outside. Now it means yoga has not happened because I'm saving my image, which was the basic reason of all the stress. You see that, which was the basic reason, like this image of me. And yoga means this image, you see the fact of this image. And when you see the fact of this self-image, this image falls on its own. You don't have to do anything. Even if you have to do something, your yoga is describing some of the methods like you asked, like prachardan vidharna bhavyam, like, inhaling and exhaling, like maitri, karuna, hai na, sukha, dukha, punya vishyanam, like friendship, compassion, friendship with those who are happy, compassion on those who are suffering, become happy with those who are doing good karmas, virtues, and neglect those who are doing sins. When you do this, automatically you get bliss from your inside. See this, try to do this. Happiness for those who are happy, compassion for those who are suffering. Why they are suffering? Because of the misunderstanding, because of the avidya. They have put in themselves that I am this. So compassion on those.
But what if your own avidya causes you to what if your own avidya causes you to not be able to do the things that you're saying? Like, what if you're struggling so much because of your own conditioned mind that you can't be happy for others, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is what Patanjali explains, that what is this avidya. He says avidya is asmita, raga, dvesh, abhinivesha. Now what is this avidya? What is this asmita? Asmita means what we call in normal world ego. So what is this ego? You say ego means when the seen and the seer becomes one, ego arises. So when you open your eyes, you see your body and you become one with it. I am. That asmita, ahankara, ego, I am. So when the seen and the seer becomes one, whether it's your thought, whether it's your body, when they become one, asmita. First avidya, I am. Okay? Second, raga. Raga means following those patterns by which we get happiness. I will get this woman, I'll find happiness. I'll get this man, I will be happy. I'll reach this, I'll earn like $10,000 per month, I'll be happy. So different, So following, sukha nushay raga, they are coming from avidya. From the avidya itself. Avidya means energy going outside in different forms and getting identified with those forms, in urge of demanding all those things. So dukha nushay dvesha. When you are following dukha, suffering, then what will happen? Hatred will happen. Again, like happiness, same way the hatred. It is also avidya, coming from avidya. And the last one is abhinivesha. Abhinivesha means, Baba, the fear of death. Though, Patanjali explains, though people are quite intelligent, but still they have this fear of death, that one day I'll die. So because of avidya, Baba, these four patterns are born. Sukha, happiness; dukha, suffering, hatred; abhinivesha, fear of death; asmita, ego. So what is avidya? If you can see that you are getting this ego is building up in you, you are following the avidya. If you are following something for happiness, if you are following something, anything for happiness, you are in avidya. If you're feeling hatred within you, try to see that why it is there. You will find the reason is avidya. So Baba, the basic reason is avidya. Avidya means misunderstanding ourselves as a individual thought. I am this. This is avidya.
And then what about dukha?
So I told you, dukha is the result of avidya. Okay. Believing that I am this. Because of that belief, dukha is born. I am Amritanshu. Amritanshu wants something. When Amritanshu is not getting all those things, suffering is coming in him.
So like insecurities, excessive attachments, likes, dislikes, confused values, misapprehension, like this kind of thing.
All these are arising just by not knowing the true nature of the self.
And those symptoms, if you will, are dukha. They are the result of avidya. Okay, I think I'm following. So in a recent conversation between you and myself, something you said kind of stayed with me. And you said hormones change with the pattern, but patterns don't change with the hormones. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Hormone change with the pattern, and pattern don't change with the hormones. Yes, I can explain that. See, even in this moment, when you see yourself, you find that silence within you. That silence itself is the balance of all the hormones. Okay, so for example, when my hormones are disturbed and I'm getting angry, so what I say, am I the result of hormones? Am I the result of hormones, or am I something more than that? If I'm just the result of hormones, then there is no question of dealing with anger. Hormone comes and then they go out, what to do? But nay, there is some understanding in me which says that I can deal with this anger. I can deal with this situation. I am not this anger. I feel, I suffer when I get angry. So when I see that this understanding itself is not coming from the hormone, is it coming from the hormone? You see it, you see it within you. It's not coming from the hormone. When you know that you have to balance your hormone, is it because of the hormone you say this? There is some power within all of us on these hormones of, even under hormones, what is there? If you say like there are saptadhatu, this body is made up of 5 shelf, annamaya kosh, this is made up of food, then the pranamaya kosh, the air, vital air, 5 airs, pan, apan, saman, vyan, udan, then 7 minerals in the body, materials in the body. What are those? Blood, plasma, bone marrow, sperm, and uh, asthi, it's like 7 kind of. So none of that. You are none of that. You are none of the matter in the body. You are none of the cells in the body. Then what are you? This understanding, from where it is coming? What is that? Now you see this understanding is you. This understanding is you, in which you know Wendy, and in which you know Shanti, and in which you know Lalji, and in which you know the whole world in you. This understanding. What is this understanding? See it. See it, Baba. This is such a total action. Just seeing at it will make you do the action which is free from the conflict. When you see something totally, when you look at the clouds, just like that, and suddenly you become stunned and so, wow. You were just watching and wow is coming as a result. You're watching the sunset near in the ocean, and you just look at it, oh wow, that wasn't pre-planned. So once you know this, every moment of life becomes wow. See, you are there, not as this, something way more than this, functioning in this, but not just, how can you say it? Not just contained in this equipment, what you call this body. It is way more than the body. It knows your body, it knows my body, it knows others' body, it knows the body of plants. Wow, who is this knower? Tell me now. Which knows you as well as the other kingdoms. Tell me now, Baba. See, there is no space for problems, there is no space for sufferings, because sufferings and problems are coming with thoughts. And when thoughts are gone, what is left? Wow. This is one has to see. What is left? Then this bliss is there. Live it. Totally. Completely. That's it, Baba. That's it. How you can use the space when you are the space. When you say using the space seems like you are something more than the space, more than the energy. See, Baba, electricity is there. It's in the bulb, it's in the fan, it's in the mic. But what is electricity? It's going to say just moving of electrons is electricity? Oh my God. So electricity is there everywhere, even here. So we need right containers, where electricity can pass through. So is electricity passing through me like with full freedom? That should be the question. What I have made myself, that should be the question. Can I be free from it? That should be the question. And the Baba question itself is the answer. When you see you are free from everything. Now enjoy, Baba. That's it. So quote Gita, quote Yog Patanjali, quote Buddha, doesn't matter. They have known it. They told everyone. Still, if you don't want to know it, Baba, then what can be done? So don't postpone the true nature, don't postpone the God, don't postpone the bliss. Live it now. This is the way. Don't seek for it.
Well,
So,
it seems to me that people often run and hide, though, from their minds and themselves. Like, people don't want to sit in silence and find that silence and to have to face those things within themselves. And so there is a tendency to distract and procrastinate. Um, I mean, I found myself doing that. Okay, I'm going to meditate today. I'm going to do yoga. Okay. Oh, now I need to, the dishes are dirty. Oh, okay. I better put those in the dishwasher. Oh, okay. Well, maybe I should shower first. Like, all these different things. And then, I've often wondered why I do that. And I've seen that in others, of course, as well, observed. Some people don't even want to be alone. They don't, they have to always be with another person. They can't even sit alone with themselves if it means reading a book or watching TV. Why do you think people run from themselves? Why do you think people are hiding from their minds when they have the capacity to reach these states of consciousness that you're talking about?
they run from themselves because they still don't know the self yet, first of all. And if you want to know the truth, then there is no running from the self. And the second thing, what you ask, when people go, they isolate themselves from the society, from the people. This is also, maybe, in this situation, they can feel the origin of happiness, where that lies. It's within them or it's in the people. So I won't say that this is wrong or this is right. I say, like, life teaches everyone. And people, they have this beautiful teacher called life, unless until they become one with it, they have to go through all these kind of transformations, go alone, live isolated. But then what? Then again you have to come back. Then again you have to come back to the same world. But when you come back to the same world, you are not the same person. This is what, like you asked, that we do yoga, we do meditation, but again we go back to the same material world and deal with those things again. How to do that? So if you're going with the same image of you, then meditation has not been done. Because in meditation there is no image. Meditation is the image free state. Very simple. So people,
Yeah.
when they try to do it, they try to do it, they know it or they don't know it. The thing is, they are seeking freedom, they are seeking happiness. The question is, where are they seeking? They seeking in themselves or they seeking outside? Because let me tell you, even seeking in the self, what you can seek in the self, you can only seek the reflection which has come from the outside. What is there within the self, even in this moment right now, other than the experiences that we have had in our lives? So again, seeking becomes problematic because they start again seeking the same patterns which came from outside. The same patterns. Oh, I am the consciousness. Oh, I am the free. Oh, I am the God. Or whatever. I am the yogi. Or I have attained this. Now they fall into this trap and they live with their lives like that. So everyone is free to choose their own trap. So you are also free to choose your trap. This is the freedom. This is the freedom I'm talking about. So when we are choosing the trap, why should we worry about the suffering? But what we say, we are not choosing the trap. Someone, this world is choosing a trap for me, and I'm trapped in that. This is the wrong understanding. I have trapped myself because of believing in all these so-called consciousness outside. That's it. Simple.
So, okay. Then I guess it would be a good question to ask, because I actually remember you saying this long time ago. Maybe it was my first trip to India, and you were saying about how many North Americans and Westerners are, seeing therapists and on medication and all of that. And from your spiritual perspective, why do you think so many people around the world today, because it's not just North America and it is kind of all over now, but why do you think so many people are on antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication and not on meditation?
Where I see, the way I see it, Baba, I see it like that. today religion is not creating superstitions. Science is creating superstitions in people. Religion is way far more backward. Science is saying, like, oh, take these pills. This is to balance this hormone. People believe in that, and that becomes a culture.
Hmm.
And if you see, where you live, you see all around you. What you see? You see humans or whatever, Canadians. So when you see how they are dealing with their depression, you find that they are taking pills and they are taking medications. So you accept that this is the way to be free from depression, this medication, because everyone is taking it. So I should also take it. This is what is happening, following others. That's it, Baba. You have come to India, and you have seen here, people, most of the people, 70% of the people, they are not rich, man. But still, they're not striving to get the money, and I want money, or Baba, there is no money. Someday I will get money. If not, then my destiny. But they're not visiting psychiatrists. They are not taking any kind of medications. What is their medication? So they believe in something. They believe in divine, as Ram, as Krishna, as Shiva. You must have seen all these, Nath Sampradayas. So they're believing in something divine, and based on that, they are perfectly healthy. So whatever they do, they offer it to the divine. And what is the divine? If you see that, the divine is that indivisibility in us, where you is also there, I am also there, but as undivided, as different waves of the same ocean. You see this. So I feel what I see, but people, they are also protesting against these kind of medications and all that. But I don't feel there is any need, to be dependent on pills and medications to get rid of stress and all the guilts and pains in life. The only thing one needs is like to be attentive, and by this attention, he can remove the cause of all this suffering, of all this avidya, by himself. Though there is no question of suffering, and there is no question of getting rid of suffering.
So the conditioned mind is now conditioned to believing that we are not capable of handling life, circumstances, pain, misery, all the human emotions and experiences. And we're being told that we need medication to cope and to deal with these things. But these are only putting a Band-Aid or a mask over what's really happening. And you're saying to pay attention to the things that are the cause, like the mental patterns and the avidya that is causing our unhappiness, correct?
See, yes, Baba, this is very simple. See, if I'm suffering and I take medication, Baba, so for some time, maybe, I can sleep nice, I will not have thoughts, like suffering thoughts. But for how long?
Mm-hmm.
For how long? This thing arised in me because of what? Because of this thought pattern, and I'm not dealing with that thought pattern. I'm trying to move it away from me. So if I try to move it away from me, myself, how can I deal with it and see the truth of it, that there is nothing like this?
Right, because you're ignoring what you need to see. Yeah, so you're in a state of ignorance, essentially. Well, and that's why you often hear as well about people who have to go back to their doctor. They have to get more medication. They have to get different medication. They have to up their medication and all of this kind of stuff, because I've heard from different people, okay, that the antidepressant or anxiety medication works for a little while, and then they have to up it and take more. And I just want to say also to anyone that's listening, I am not shaming and I am not judging anybody who needs to take medication. That is where you're at right now, and that's perfectly okay. We are just talking in a spiritual perspective, from a standpoint of why people are so heavily medicated now more than ever. But ultimately, this knowledge and information is up to you to take in and do whatever you need to do for your own life. But this is just an interesting perspective on it. Just wanted to say that. So why are we not on meditation? Why are we not being prescribed meditation? Because there's so much science that is now proving the effects of what meditation can do for the mind more and more and more. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with Joe Dispenza, but I mean, there's so much scientific, there's so much science backing up the effects of meditation now. Why are we not prescribing that?
See, prescribing meditation, how can you prescribe? Because it's different for everyone. You cannot give the same medicine to all the person, So everyone has his own way of dealing with the patterns. When I talk about meditation, so a person, only you can help the person that, okay, you can try this way, you can try that way, but the person has to walk on that way by himself. Mm-hmm. And when he walks, he should have that courage. You should give him that courage that, okay, people are scared inside. They are so much full with fear that there's nothing inside, there's nothing outside, this is all just a belief. They don't put their belief aside and see the fact. See, belief is very powerful. But what is belief that we don't know? Belief is some kind of power. But like you explained, Patanjali Yoga Sutras, before that, 5 patterns of consciousness, and he calls them klishta and aklishta, colored and uncolored. Colored means, with suffering, and uncolored means happiness and silence. So all these patterns, they can be used as colored, as for suffering, and as well as for happiness. It's on us how we have to use it. Now, I'm talking about meditation, Baba. It's not just sitting quietly and meditating. It's just how you can apply these principles in your day-to-day life when you're talking with person, handling business situations. So how you can maintain that calm within you, that silence within you, where there is no conflict, where there is no disturbance. So this is a thing. So when we get that thing, we start developing techniques, or you can say techniques. They enters in you on their own. You don't have to force technique. Like I'll tell you, my little baby is like 1 year and 7 months. My wife, she herself is a yoga teacher, but you won't believe the kind of yoga asana this little kid is doing, man. Even her mother she's not able to cope with him. Like so crazy asanas, and no one is teaching him. How the hell he knows these asanas? From where he's getting these techniques? Now that is the question. Now he's getting these techniques in fun and in happiness. He's not aware that he's making asana. So can you imagine that people are doing asana in so much bliss and happiness where there is no doer in them who's doing the asanas? This is what I'm talking about, Baba, where a singer is singing, and everyone is connecting with that singer. But in that person, there is nothing like a singer. Like we experience this sometimes, like when Bob Marley is singing, people are connecting with him. Oh, yeah. But what is that connection? Why people are able to connect with that person? What is his inner science? We never pay attention on that. There is some inner science which attracts energies. So, for example, when you listen to something, you start moving with that thing on your own, on the beats. You don't have to tell yourself, oh, I have to catch the beats. You hear the beats and yeah. You know it. So that's the thing, Baba. All the great things in you already know it. The problem is when you want to attain it by doing it, by efforts. And mind cannot comprehend that. Mind said, okay, it's not possible to get that thing without any effort. Because mind is nothing but the effort itself.
Okay, so this kind of comes back to our conditioning though, because we've also been conditioned to think that we need things outside of ourselves and that we do not have the power ourselves within us. That's a part of this conditioning. And I feel like, because you were saying that people can't, you can't prescribe people meditation unless they come to it themselves. And I do understand what you're saying by that. Absolutely. I mean, you could tell someone to meditate, but if they don't want to, I mean, it's not earnest, it doesn't make a difference. But what I guess I was trying to say is that um, I think that people get so beaten down by their conditioning, because we're talking about avidya and we'll keep it on theme here. People get so beat down by their conditioning. And if you had a really like shitty childhood, or maybe you were bullied in school, or depending on what it is, and people told you all the time how weak you are, and you had lots of experiences that made you feel weak, made you feel disempowered, you're victimized over and over and over and over again. In your mind, your new conditioning is, I can't save me because I'm too weak, I'm too small, I don't have that power. So how would you try to explain to someone so that they could understand that they do have that power, they do have that ability, when so much of their life, if not all of it, they've been surrounded by shitty people, and have been convinced that they don't have that power and that they are this weak, small little thing that, you know what, just got to take the medication, you know?
Mm. Okay. See, Baba, when you talk about meditation, meditation is coming from the basic word called medic, like medical, like some kind of medical health. है ना? But when you translate it in Hindi, it becomes dhyan. So dhyan and meditation, they are two different things. First, we have to analyze that dhyan and meditation, they are two different things. Meditation is for those people who are suffering physically and mentally. Dhyan is for those people who wants to know the truth of life, and they are perfectly healthy. They are perfectly healthy. So now let's come back over here. So why meditation? Meditation comes when you become sick, when you realize your body is not in a good shape. Okay, when your body is healthy, do you feel your body? You don't feel your head unless it's paining. But you have it. You don't feel your hand unless it's paining, it's broken. So what is the definition of this health you're talking about? When you don't feel your body at all. When you start feeling the body, oh, I feel pain here, I have a head, I have headache. So now with this ache, you know that you have a head. But when you don't feel, body is completely at rest, you are healthy. You can define the disease, but you cannot define the health. Can you? You can mostly, like at the most, you can say absence of disease is health. What? There is no other definition. So let's come to the first point. People who feel, you know, depressed, who have been like, kind of, how to say that, demoralized by the people, they don't know how they can overcome their own self. See, all this situation when they come in life, if you look at the history, all the people who are at the top, they have been through all these situations, they have tackled everything, and then somehow they reach to some state. For example, Steve Jobs, he has been through all these things, he also reached the state, very high, what you call healthy and wealthy. But mind is still, I have to die one day, I have to die someday, oh, I have to do everything today because there is no tomorrow. All these things are right, but this person is feeling sad inside, not because of the cancer in the body, but what is the meaning of life if you have to die? Now that's where dhyan comes in, not meditation comes in. Meditation, he tried meditation when he wanted to heal himself with this cancer and all that, and then he said, oh, none of them are helping. So meditation is something else and dhyan is something else. Meditation means like you are coming out of all those negative patterns in this moment. You leave all those patterns which have been given to you by outside in this moment. You leave all that. This is meditation. You see that. Now, no thoughts from outside, no thoughts from your inside. This is the moment. Now, in this moment, you have to take action undividedly for your own self. What is it that makes you dance? What is it that makes you connect with everything? What is that thing? And believe me, you don't have to look for it. It will come out through you. Automatically, it will born in you. And when it will born in you, it will live, not you. So this means dhyan has happened. Dhyan is not something, meditation is not something which you have to do. You have to start with something. But later on, it becomes a life. Dhyan, meditation and life, they are no two different things. You smile in dhyan, you walk in dhyan, you talk in dhyan, you enjoy in dhyan, you sleep in dhyan. Dhyan. So you are nothing but dhyan, that attention itself, that awareness itself, even right now. That's it.
So kind of wanted to, something you were saying that came up that I was thinking of is that it says in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaking to Arjuna says, by virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. And why this caught my eye and caught my attention was, he's talking about how based on previous lives and your karmas and your activities will depend upon what kind of life and what kind of family you will be born into in this life, and therefore, make it easier in some ways to reconnect with your spiritual path or God or yoga or whatever it may be. And I found that interesting because I've been drawn to Krishna and yoga and all of this stuff. None of my family is religious. I'm not, I have no idea. It was like I was drawn to these things and attracted to these things. And now I'm seeking just who I am. And I related that when I heard that, because I was thinking, I don't know why I'm attracted to these things. And so I guess that's kind of the other question is, maybe meditation works for someone who has that in them to be this spiritual seeker. And maybe that has to do with the fruits and karmas of previous lives. And maybe for others, the suffering that they're experiencing and where they're born, et cetera, does that all have to do with like previous lives and all that kind of stuff? Like, I know you're a human being, but I don't know if you can explain that based on your Vedic wisdom.
See, if you take the concept of previous lives, and so you have to see, even with the Patanjali, when Patanjali says Videha Prakriti Layanam, some of the yogis, they touched that Sabij Samadhi, that Samadhi in their life, but they again get conditioned with the word, and this is why they have to born again. Mm-hmm. But because of their past life, they get this silence as the prasadam. They get this bliss as the prasadam. As prasad means like as a benediction for them, Hana? Because they already touched that thing in their last life, but because of their avidya, they again fell into this mortal, what you call, body procedure. So again, if you see that, they again fell into this body thing and mind thing. Why? If you see that, the thing is, what is the truth? What is the truth? If you see it over here, the truth is, Baba, that you were never born and you will never die. Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It just changes from one form to another. Dalton's atomic theory. If you take it, same thing. Now you quoted Gita. Same thing Krishna says when Krishna is saying this. Na jayate mriyate kadachinnayam bhuyam bhavati vana bhuya ajo nityam shashvato purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Simply what he's talking about, your Atma Tattva, what we call soul. But when you call it a soul, it feels like everyone has a different soul. But when we're talking about the Atma in Vedanta over here, in Gita over here, Atma is one. is the one drashta. You and me, we don't have two Atmas. All of us has one Atma, and everything is happening in the Atma and with the Atma. So this is the thing. This Atma is never born. This Atma never dies, and even in this moment, this Atma is not happening.
Hmm.
The meaning of this sloka. Once you realize this, which is you, then all your past life, what you call past life birth and next life birth, they stop right at that very moment. Because this avidya that I was getting born, this was happening. Why you were getting born again and again? Because you didn't realize your own sarup, which is never born, which is just pure awareness, which is just pure knowing, which knows the known as well as the unknown, which knows the birth as well as the death, which knows everything and also it knows nothing. Wow. At the same time, which was that this thing is here and now you touch it, you become it, and now it's your wish. You want to play, you play. You want to be silent, man. But there is no conflict in that. There is never conflict. People who wants to understand, they will understand it. This is, we're talking about 1 in a million is looking for truth and he is finding it, Baba. So one who is not finding it is not looking for it with a pure heart, because it is you. No matter, see, you can, what you can discard from yourself is not you. Your thoughts, you can throw them out. That's not you. Close your eyes, body is also gone. Now what is you? What can we feel in this? This is according to Patanjali yoga. This is prakriti. This is nature. According to I, you, everything is this. Okay. Who is feeling this in you? Now see, now this, who is the one who is feeling this becomes this. One sees the memory, becomes the memory. One sees the bad thought, becomes a bad thought. But who is this one who is seeing and becoming? See that right now. This word is this nature is this. And the seer in you, who is seeing you, who is that? In with the phone, you can see yourself, you can see you, you can see me. Wow, what is that? There is no definition. There is no definition of it. But Baba, there is living of it. And this living, you can start it from this moment and see it, what it brings in life when you become the life.
Okay. Well, what I've been understanding is that because of our material nature, we are essentially trapped in this avidya and illusions, essentially. And that's the reason why mantras are prescribed to people. And in chanting the holy names, not only do you have an area to focus on with your attention, which I believe is that dhyan? Dhyan, focusing. If you were to focus on, fix your mind on mantra, that's not dhyan. Okay. So I'm not right about that.
Focusing is concentration on something. You know?
Okay.
You're thinking about something, you put all your focus on that thing, and you reject all the other things. Oh, I have to just think about that. That is what you call bringing your attention to something. We cannot call it dhyan.
Okay.
Dhyan, we can call dhyan when see, listen. Dhyan is that state when you become one with the attention.
Okay. Maybe in my next life I'll understand what you mean by that.
You understand, Baba? It's very simple. See, you put your attention on something, okay? Then to understand something, okay? You can listen to me because your attention is on the voice, okay? You can see me because attention is on the screen. Now, what happens when there is just attention? Oh my God. So see, not next life. Don't postpone it to next life.
Well, I'm trying to figure it out in this life. Now, the reason why I was bringing up mantras, is because I realized how busy my mind is and how much I think. In fact, like you said that to me years ago, you know what your problem is? You think too much. And it's true, but I know that there's probably a lot of people listening who can relate to that. Most people have a busy mind. And so what I've been doing is writing down like all of my thoughts, like writing down fears I have, just writing everything that's on my mind down on a piece of paper. And then I'm sitting down with my mala beads and I'm chanting Ram, Ram, Ram. And I focus my attention with my eyes closed on my third eye. And up until I started doing this recently and chanting Ram, I had been trying to meditate, but I wasn't successfully meditating. I was sitting there trying to focus on my breath and my mind thinking and going to this, going to that, and all these things. And it wasn't until I started saying Ram, and then I all of a sudden had this feeling like I'd like to start reading the Bhagavad Gita. I want to start exploring. And now I actually feel something shifting and changing inside of me. And I could not, I mean, I've heard other people talk about this before, but until I actually felt in a place, A, to surrender, and B, to actually take those practices and sit and do them, I couldn't understand the experience of what you were referring to until, you know, I'm having these moments where I am experiencing this, like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, how do you even explain a state where you don't feel anything? You're just, I don't know. I don't even know. Is that why we have to chant names like Ram or Krishna or like mantras, whatever it is, Shanti or whatever you want to say? Like, is there power behind these mantras? You tell me, Baba. Of course you know the answer.
See, mantra is coming from the word man. Man means mind, and mantra means repetition. So what we are repeating in our head, that becomes our mantra. Some people, money, money, money. Mm-hmm. Success, success, success. Success is their mantra. Money is their mantra. So what you repeat continuously becomes the mantra. Now let's come to about the names of God. Okay. Every letter and word in Sanskrit and Hindi has a sound. If you say Ram, you can feel the circle itself. Ram. Maybe you haven't noticed it yet, but there is a circle in there. So what happened? We have these impressions of thoughts within us, negative impressions on our mind. So when we start saying Ram, Ram, we remove the negativity of these thoughts from our own self. Ram, Ram. And in a moment, with that vibration, we feel, it's so amazing. Because we feel something nice, we don't know what is it, and all those negative thoughts, they have dispersed somewhere. But for how long? That is a question. For how long? Unless until you make this Ram so strong that whenever you see, you are so attentive and you see a thought is going to enter. Now, you make your circle, the circle of the vibration itself. It's gone. Now that becomes a practice now. And very soon you will see the time will come where you don't have to say Ram. It will start happening on its own.
Yeah. I noticed that if I chant, especially with the Maha Mantra, if I chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. If I keep chanting this over and over, when I go to sleep, I'm in my dreams, I'm hearing it.
See, and you are hearing it. If you do it even more, you won't believe me, but a person who is sleeping beside you can hear the Ram Ram even if you are not opening your mouth. it becomes so powerful, this vibration. And now wherever you go, this vibration is going with you. So when you have to talk with people, you don't have to deal with their negativities. It would come near you. Like, now that is something to experience, not to make a concept.
Baba, I have to interject and say what's so strange about you saying that to me is that the other day I was chanting my Ram Ram, and my partner was in the other room, and all of a sudden I had this inner voice or knowing that was saying to me that even though I'm out here and I'm doing my Ram Ram for me in this moment, it's actually affecting and impacting him over there, whether or not either of us are conscious of it. And I just all of a sudden had this like little moment where it was like, I don't know where this information is coming from, but I was like, oh, yeah. And then the more you do it,
butterfly effect, huh?
yeah, something like that. So
yes, Baba, see, you are doing it and you are experiencing it, and your experience is the proof, nothing else. Nothing else can be the proof. Taking it as a concept, reading it as a concept, applying it as a no. You know how to do it with your whole heart. You have to be involved in chanting. It's not just my things will. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. It's like completely letting yourself merge in that Ram. Like there is no difference between that Ram and you.
Yeah, because I know. Yeah, if I force it too much, like where I'm like trying too hard to say it, or like if I notice there's like, you almost get into this sweet spot of like, if I'm trying to say it and I'm trying to use too much voice, it's almost like just letting go as you're doing it. And that's why I find looking at my third eye when I've got my eyes closed, it comes out, and it's the only thing I can seem to chant, and the only, I've tried different mantras, like simple ones, but it's the only one that seems to want to come out, where everything in me just like settles into this like state of ease. And yeah, I think that it's so hard to talk about beliefs and even trying to have these conversations where we explain what, who Patanjali is, what's Avidya, Dukha, meditation, all these kinds of things, because you're trying to put words to a felt experience. And until a person takes that step to walk that path in their own way and to find that out for themselves, it's so hard. You can hear about it all day long and never understand.
So this is what I meant when I say that God is with us all the time. So instead of seeking Him, start living Him. Because living is the only option. Seeking is not the option. Seeking, you seek it, what do you get? Nothing. Now you living it, you Ram, you live it, no matter what form you say, no matter what words you use, but there is that infinite in that vibration itself. So now there is no more talking, now there is living, now there is eating Ram, drinking Ram, whatever you like to call it, like that's it.
Baba, that's another thing I've noticed. So we went to last Sunday, we went to the ISKCON in Vancouver, and Bronson, we went into the little gift shop, and he's like, oh, do you want something from in here? And I got like a little RT, like oil, like a little oil thing. And so I've been doing my little RT every single night, and I've been offering like apples and bananas and avocados. And I am not kidding you. The next day when I eat this fruit, it tastes sweeter. My avocado that I had yesterday was like the best avocado I'd ever tasted. And I'm like, is this in my head? But I swear these things taste sweeter and better. And I'm offering, and I got a little water cup too. So I'm offering water, and it's been actually really nice.
this is what I mean, I never said that bhakti is wrong or yoga is wrong or this vipassana. It's not about the way you take. It's about the person who is taking the way.
Mm-hmm.
No way is wrong, man. The person himself with all these patterns is wrong. That's the thing, even with bhakti, now you see bhakti, you offer. Offering itself is such an amazing thing. Like, my God, if you know how to offer, man, one day you can offer yourself to him. Now,
I have to tell you something so funny at the temple. This woman, you always get these like keeners. It doesn't matter. I've been to, different places of faith, beliefs, religion. There's always fanatical people who are seeking so desperately, and they love to share with other people, but it's like not coming from it doesn't feel authentic to me. It feels like they're just trying so hard and they want everyone to believe what they believe. So, and she wasn't even Indian. She comes up to me and she's like, it was like 21 questions. She says to me, "Hi, what's your name? Where are you from? Oh, how did you get here? Oh, do you drive? Oh, are you and then she says to me, "Oh, are you a devotee?" And I said, "Yes." She goes, "Oh, have you been here before?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've been coming here for about 10 years or so." She goes, "Oh, are you initiated?" And I said, "No." And she goes, "Oh, well, that's okay. Like, Srila Prabhupada has mercy upon everyone who comes in here." And I said, "So does Krishna." And I was just thinking, like, I was just thinking, like, this is an example of how people feel they need all of the labels. Like, why can't I be a devotee unless I've been initiated by some human being who says, "Okay, yeah, you're a devotee. Like, you taught me that a long time ago." I don't need to be going even to a temple to be a devotee. I don't need to even step foot into a temple to be a devotee. And so we had this big conversation on the drive home, because, we were just talking about some of this stuff. And, and I was just saying, like, sometimes people want so much to belong and to believe something that they can almost like suffocate other people with these, their own perceptions of what they think the religion is. Oh,
sorry.
Bless you. Anyways, and so I went to the temple and, had this experience, and I was thinking to myself, what am I supposed to learn from this experience? Why did I attract this interaction? And what does it mean?
See, that's the thing, like in Hindi we call it mandir, temple is known as mandir. And mandir, man means mind. And inside the mind, there is a temple. Inside the mind, there is in the heart that he's sitting, like a belief, he's sitting over there in the heart. So instead of going outside, one has to step inside the temple, which is known as mind itself, and see from where it get its power from. It get its power from the infinite source. See it. It doesn't have power of its own. It gets its power from something you cannot describe. That's something you cannot put in words, because of that something we are talking, we are listening, we are watching. That's something, and this, they are no two different things. See, I'm talking pure Vedanta now. They are not two different things. They are one. So that infinite thing in you, from where mind gets its power. See that. What is that infinite thing? What is your knowing? What you call awareness. In your knowing, you know what you know. you also know what you don't know. Now you tell me, how can you know that what you don't know? See, you go to sleep also. In sleep, you don't remember where your body is, and you don't remember where your mind is, because there are no dreams in there, in deep sleep. But when you wake up, you say, wow, I had a nice sleep. So you also experience that state in which you are not the body and not the mind. Otherwise, how can you say, I had a very nice sleep? There were no dreams. So this experience in you, this awareness in you, that is unborn. That is unborn. That is the cosmic intelligence in everything. Every plant has it, every cell has it, every animal has it. But see what has happened to us humans, huh? We need to decide that we have to be vegetarian or we have to eat meat. Come on, man. Do we need some concept? Are we not aware what is good for our body? Every creature knows that. Every animal knows that. He needs, it needs plants or it needs meat to eat. Why human needs to consult someone that what should I eat?
Hmm.
Because he's not living his life with awareness. He's living his life with the conditioned thoughts.
Hmm.
No matter a child is born in Christianity or in Muslim, but when you slaughter animals in front of him, he doesn't want that. I've seen a lot of videos. The child is crying, don't kill animals, don't butcher them. He has that awareness. Irrespective is Muslim, Hindu does not matter. He's born with that.
Hmm.
But what we are doing, we need others to tell us I should eat meat or I should eat plants, or who am I? You need me to tell you who are you? No. No one needs no one to know who they are. To know something else, you can need someone. Okay, tell me what is the moon, who went to the moon, okay. But you don't need anyone to tell you who are you. Do you?
Hmm. Yeah,
This
that's
is
how
the
I
whole
feel.
mess.
I don't need to be exactly. And that's why I was thinking, like, I can have love for
Are you
this.
feel good with mantras? That's your way. Perfect. If someone
Yeah.
says, "Oh, mantra is bullshit," and his whole energy is on, like, saying bad things about mantra, then he's not into peaceful state, man. Maybe
Hmm.
mantra is not his way, but what is his way? He should find that and follow that way.
Hmm. People
Because
should find their own way.
yeah, like the way you can feel happy by saying Ram, maybe
Hmm.
someone can feel happy by saying Allah. Maybe
Hmm.
someone can feel happy by sitting alone and focusing on his breath.
Yeah.
So who knows? So it's all about the bliss. It's
And
not about which way you take.
yeah, and that's exactly it. People get so rigid about thinking that their way is the only
It's the
way
best
and
way.
is the way, is the best way. And, like, I think that is something that I feel like
So
as I get,
that also proves something, that everyone has something in them very powerful. They don't
mhm.
know it, but whatever way they feel through it, they say, "Oh, this is my way." Because of that power, they make that way their own way, and they get stuck with that.
See, and that's the thing. As I get older, I realize how it isn't important that other people believe what I believe, and that it's important for other people to find their own way, and that you don't have to all believe the same things. In fact, I think it would be very strange if we all believed the exact same things.
See, Baba, I see it like, we all, see, we are young, huh? Let's live this life so, so happeningly and so amazingly, from this moment itself, so that when we grow old now, people should wait. Oh, when I will become old, I want to be that old person like him. People are so scared of old age. I don't know why, because They live their youth in fear, in
Mm-hmm.
looking for something. They don't live it fully. If you live your youth completely fully, the old age is the fruit, Baba. Is the
Mm-hmm.
fruit. When you look at the old faces, what do you see? You see, oh my God, nothing is in their eyes. But when you see the same old person, Mr. Prabhupada, going to the West at the age of 60, look in his eyes, man. He's so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So with the oldness, the power should increase, man, not
Mm-hmm.
decrease. It
Yeah,
should expand more.
and that is actually a conditioning that I noticed when I was in India. I was like, over here, people turn 60 and they're like, well, actually, people turn 30 and they're like, I'm old. And then people, when they're 60, yeah. And then people, when they're 60, they're like, oh, I'm so old. And, like people have this belief about what you're supposed to do when you're old and how you're supposed to be. And it's like we develop this conditioned, learned helplessness the older we get in so many ways. And,
Hmm.
part of our bodies breaking down and our minds breaking down is we stop using them. And if you stop using your mind and using your body, of course, it's going to start to break down. And something I noticed in India is these like little old ladies, like sharp, like super, super sharp in their mind and like strong in their body and like carrying stuff on their heads and I couldn't help but notice that. And well, like that's conditioning. That's again Avidya, no?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
the
but
more
see, both are conditioning. Okay, one is I am trapped in this world. The other is I am free.
Hmm,
I am free. So one has to choose between these two conditionings. If he
right,
chooses I am trapped, he is calling the suffering.
right,
If
right.
he chooses I am free, he is choosing the truth, Baba,
Mm,
and that will bring the happiness on its own. You are free to chant Ram wherever you like to. If I make some rules, okay, you cannot say Ram like this. You have to take a shower. Then you have to light incenses. Then you have to do some arti. And then you have to sit and say Ram 108 times. See, I put conditioning on you.
oh, okay. Right. Well, the other thing that I was reading was that Patanjali notes that we shouldn't feel ashamed about experiencing these conscious and unconscious patterns um, because they are, this avidya dukkha cycle is as mm, normal as birth and death, essentially. So, like, how can we become more conscious then? How can we start to live more in that state? Like, is it just like, does someone have to have that desire? Like, is that the most important part?
No, 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 no. You have to look at the divisions which we have created. One, conscious mind. Second, subconscious mind. Third, unconscious mind. I think you are aware of all this. Mr. Freud has also divided, these kind of things. And
Mm-hmm.
your question is how one can be fully conscious. Now the thing is, if there is conscious, subconscious, and unconscious, how you can be fully conscious? So first of all, drop these ideas of subconscious, conscious, and unconscious. You want to know the truth? When there are no thoughts, you are conscious about everything. But what does it mean you are conscious about everything? It means when there is total silence, when your brain is completely quiet, you can even listen a needle dropping on the floor.
Mm.
Huh? Your brain becomes so attentive. Now, in this thing, there is no conflict between the silence and the action. You see this in the conscious pattern when you are talking, there is a silence. You are not aware of that. You are aware of the image of you who is doing something. I am doing this thing. I'm not aware about the silence. I'm aware about the doing and the doer. Avidya. So I'm doing it with the doer. When I'm doing it with the doer has the expectations which will divide it into sadness and happiness. If I get that thing, I'll be happy. If I'll not get it, I'll be sad. From where it is coming? It is coming from the image of the doer. What is behind the image of the doer? Silence.
Hmm.
So how you can be fully conscious? The thing is, there is no effort in being fully conscious. Whenever you're putting some effort in being conscious, that is partly conscious.
Hmm.
For example, when you listen to some music and you feel like dancing, you see that your body is getting up, following the music and becoming one with the music. Now there is no conflict. There is a dance and there is a dancer. In words, there is a conflict. Dancer is different and dance is different. But in fact, it is one. Dancer and the dance, they are the one thing. So, Baba, we all are the dance of that infinite which is in us. Some call it Shiva, some call it bliss, some call it Krishna. But calling it is not going to help it. But seeing it with pure perception, when I say pure perception,
Mm-hmm.
means like without any conditionings, without any judgments. It is like this, it is like this, no judging at all. And when we don't judge and when we don't make any thoughts about something, we see the reality of that thing. And in that seeing itself, it transforms, Baba. It transforms on its own.
Yeah. And that's why I think that yoga is helpful because, you know, obviously we all go through these cycles. And like I was saying, they are universal and certain to all of us as death. And, there are these attitudes and beliefs that we have that obstruct sort of this clear lens of perception that we could have. And so with yoga, because you are, you know, going into these places and into these states, you're able to start to peel away these layers that are inhibiting this self-realization. So, you know, do you believe that if people made peace with their mortality and the inevitable idea of our death, which is certain, which no one wants to talk about because it is morbid and scary, because it's unknown, do you think it would change this lens of perception? Do you think that would clear some of these obstructions if we knew that each moment is not certain for any of us?
See, instead of changing the perception, why don't we see the perception? For example, there is a thought of death. I will be dead one day for sure. This is happening. What is the reality of death? What is death, in fact? Is it the ending of my memory? Is it the ending of my cellular organism? What is it? One has to see it in himself, not covering this thought with another thought that okay. In fact, if you see even yoga, Abhinivesh, death is nothing but a pattern. Is but a pattern. Death is there, but of a body. Death is there, but of a body, not not of that who was living in the body, not of that organism. If you see that way, so it is a completion of one thing and beginning of something another. We can go in the concepts, but if I want to deal with death, then I have to see death. What is it? And seeing itself totally reveals that there is nothing like death. Why? What is that? Let me tell you. Aware, being aware I was born, and being aware this body is dying. There is no birth and death in that. There's awareness itself.
Mm.
If you catch my point, I was born, I am not aware, but I've been told that I was born
Mm-hmm.
in a Brahmin family, like this, that. Oh, I'm going through that. Then one thought is there that I will die. I accepted one thought that I was born, which is a fact, and then the another end of it, which is death. Now, what is this birth and what is this death? What is this heaven and what is this hell people are talking about? So let's start with the fact of death and birth itself. Okay, I was born, but the way I was born, I am that, or I am just the conditioning what I've been told to me. What do I know about myself? Now that is the question. This question settles down, all the unnecessary questions, in fact. So when you see that, okay, even right now, I am here. What will die? When you see it, Baba, in fact, let me tell you what you're talking about meditation, what you think about being conscious. If you know, in deep sleep, you die. There is no mental modification. There is no awareness of the body, but there is definitely you in form of awareness. Hmm? So if we can know that pattern, sleeping pattern, what people try to do it with yoga nidra in their own ways. I don't know what they do, what is their cause of doing yoga nidra. But yoga nidra means seeing the body dead, completely silent and dead. Right in that moment, this nature becomes different, and the energy functioning in the nature, which never bonds, which never dies, appears on its own. So we don't have to cover any fact that there is no death. I have to apply some other perception. I have to say it. Is there death? Is there? What is it? Let me see it by myself. I have to question it myself, not because of the people, not the way people point it out. This is a very serious question and very individualistic question, Baba. I cannot borrow this question from someone else. Like from this life, when I realize there is no point of life when I have to die. If one day I have to die, then what is the point of living? Let me know what is death. Then things gets clear, Baba. Crystal clear. Honest soul. So what is death? Is it a concept or is it reality? If it is a concept, then Baba, people cannot deal with it. But it's a reality. It's a fact. What we call death, end of the organism. Okay, let's see it. What is it which is observing the end and as well as the beginning of the organism?
Hmm.
What is that? Now, this finishes here. Right in this state, Baba, you see what is. You see what is.
What is the line in the Bhagavad Gita? Oh, I feel like I'm going to sneeze now.
Yeah.
I think I might
Took a little
sneeze.
time to reach Canada.
Oh, sorry, guys. I thought I was going to sneeze for a second, but it went away. What's the line in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is talking about us changing our bodies, like our clothes, like from one life, from one birth to the next? Can you explain
Dehansi
that one?
vasansi jirnani. He means like this day, this body. We call it dehe in Sanskrit. So de means in which there are a lot of things. Something which is made up of a lot of things. So de. So this day, when it becomes, it's like a cloth, and we change it. When it becomes old, it becomes it's torn. It's ripped from everywhere. We change it. So what is it then? We are not the they. Then what is it? Then he says, he na jayate mriyate. Neither it is born nor it dies. Kadachin nayam bhuyam bhavati vana bhuyah. Neither it happened nor it will happen nor it is happening. Ajo nitya. Nitya means constant, always. Shashwatam. Shashwatam means oldest, till as well as the newest. Puranam na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Hanyate means like it cannot be killed by killing the body. This Atma, it doesn't get killed by killing the body, because this Atma, it never bonds, it never dies. It has never happened, it will never happen, and it is not even happening. So, nainam chindanti shastrani naham dehati pavaka. Nor it can be shot with weapons, nor it can be burnt with fire. This Atma, which is you. Na kledyant apo, nor it can be wet by water. Na shoshyati maruta, nor it can be dried by the air. Because it has nothing to do with these five elements. In fact, these five elements, their power is coming from this tattva which we call Atma. So, this is the thing. Who are we? We are the Atma. Atma means like if you take the literal meaning of the word Atma, is like your self-most, your innermost. That is Atma, Atma Bhav. So not this I'm pointing at, but by which I am pointing. so, so by which I am pointing. So this is a thing, I am pointing to it by itself. There is no need of me. You see what I mean? You don't see.
I'm trying to. I think I do.
For example, when you see some power in you, rising in you, and I ask you, where is that power? What is that power? You say, this is the power. So that power and you, they are not two different persons, personalities. The power is you and you are the power. The Atma is you and you are the one who is pointing at the power is the power itself. You understand what I mean? As I say, okay, Shanti, where is the silence in you?
Couldn't tell ya.
Okay, you say, first you see the silence. Huh? First you see the silence. Then silence itself sees where am I? And then silence says, I don't know, Baba. I cannot tell you. Simple. Isn't it? Very simple. I am everywhere. How can I tell where I am not? See this, we don't believe in this, what is real. We believe in that, what is not real. And from there, our problems are coming.
So
we believe we are trapped. We believe we are conditioned. We believe we have to do something. We believe yoga. We believe this, not understanding what yoga is. Everyone is looking for freedom and free soul. They are looking for yoga. They are looking for union with the self. Everyone is looking for endless happiness. Where is that? That is in the self itself. Everyone is looking for it. No one can deny it. If someone says, I commit suicide, what for? Because that person has so much love for himself that this world cannot fulfill. So, because of the love for the self, he commits suicide. What is the thing? Love. Love, one can never deny it. If it doesn't get fulfilled, one is ready to give up his life. For what? For love.
interesting. So if people had a understanding of who they are, actually, like what you're explaining, and that there is this Atma, that the fear of death would disappear because you would know that it wasn't actually death. It's just the end of this body and material nature, but not the end of who you actually are.
I don't know whether you heard this proverb or not, that if you want to live completely, die every moment completely.
But actually, though, it really puts things into perspective. When you live every single day and you realize the impermanence of your material nature and that there is no such idea as, this body carrying on forever. Like, yes, we can say you don't want to think that you live forever, but okay, if we're talking about the soul, yes, it does. But this life and the lessons you're supposed to learn and to gain and the love that you experience, if you don't acknowledge the inevitable, which is your death, which you don't know how far away or how quickly that moment is, it changes the way that you live your life and the way that you relate and experience life with other people. And you take more time to pause and cherish those sunsets and clouds, like you were talking about, to have those more wow moments, because you realize that this is what life is, no?
Also, when there is nothing, also cherish nothing. And the thing is about acknowledging, what you call about acknowledgement. It's like acknowledging that who is acknowledging, like, how to say that, who is like kind of knowing through you everything, that should come into the being
Mm-hmm.
without any conflict. Not about different knowings, this knowing, that knowing, but the knowing of the knower itself, where conflict ends completely. So becoming becoming one with nothing in the self. Now let me say, becoming one with the nothing in the self is not something which you have to do, because if you see within yourself, it's totally silence over there. And when you see that silence, you don't have to surrender, baba. Surrender happens, you know on its own, because you are a very tiny part in front of that waves. Not wave or waves, I don't know, but that ocean, in which this little personality of me was popped up. And when this little personality sees that infinite ocean which is free from darkness and light, you know then this small personality loses its meaning.
Mm.
It has no meaning. In fact, you don't have to drop your ego, you don't have to drop your desires. They drop on their own automatically. Now this is the magic. you know on the other hand, you try to give up things, you try to surrender, we all try to surrender, bro. We don't succeed. But when something happens, you realize surrender happens on its own. You don't have to do it. As long as the doer is there, there is no surrender. I surrender. Oh, I is still there. I have surrendered to you. Then there
Mm.
should be no I at all if I have surrendered already. But surrender is totally a different process. It means when you love something, when your attention is total into something, that is a surrender. you
Mm.
you love doing, for example, you love to interview people. So when you interview people, what you do, your whole attention is in the moment. And that interview itself becomes so lovely, like you don't know how you do it, how you probe, but it happens through you. You just have the structure. So okay, this is my structure, okay, let's do it now. When everything follows the rhythm, you know you as well as the person you are interviewing, you say, wow man, this is something I don't need to plan. It works so efficiently without planning. So when you know this fact, that this whole universe is functioning beautifully without any plans, Baba, done. That is done now. Flow. See, Baba?
Well, there are some plans. I do plan out my
Okay.
footnotes and questions to there is
Yeah.
definitely some planning involved in my podcast, but I get what you're saying.
See, I'm talking about
Effortless.
total attention right now here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when total attention is not like I'm saying, like, you love to talk to people. Okay, when you
Mm-hmm.
love to talk with people, what do? You listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
and and Baba, listening is a great art. Talking is very easy. I can talk, but talking, listening at the same time, you need a great set of skill to do that. I'm talking right now with you. I'm not only listening to you, but also listening to my own self.
Mm-hmm.
The one who is listening to my own self and to you and watching me is not me and is not you. What is it? That's the point. That is also there and that is also here. Oh my God, there is no. Now this is crazy. Now you interview with a surprise. Now you do things in wonder. Like wonder makes you do things. Wonder about your own self, and that wonder is doing everything. So in that wonder, Baba, you tell me: is there any suffering? Is there any seeking? Is there any achievement? Is there any attainment? Or this is just a wonderful thanks to the life in form of prayer? This is prayer, I feel. That's it. This is
Well,
this is
I like that. I was going to say, speaking of which, I'm probably going to wrap it up here because I'm starting to get hungry. I got to feed my material body.
Arey Baba.
Yeah.
You don't worry about feeding your material body. It can feed itself. It is very smart. Body is very smart. If you don't believe me, do one thing: don't eat anything, and after some time, you will see that your body is getting up, going to the fridge, taking the food out, putting it in the oven, then eating it.
Well, my mind is
Body
already
has
doing
its
that.
Okay, Baba, I don't want to create any conflict in that. Do it completely, okay? And one more thing, with this appetite, the food becomes Brahma. Also, the Yoga Sutra from India, Annam Brahma. So when you are hungry, so much hungry, what is the God? Ah, the food itself is the God. So enjoy the God, Baba.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show again, and we'll have you come back on because you're a big fan favorite, like I was saying to you earlier before we
Arre,
started recording. So I appreciate you
I-
sharing again. And
Thank you. I wish all of you a very great life, and all of you are wonderful. Don't doubt it. It was very nice talking with all of you. And Shantima, thank you.
Radhe Radhe, we'll talk again soon. Thank you so much, Baba.
Thank you. Radhe Shyam. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Shantima podcast. I hope that you found value in today's episode, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you are having a wonderful day or evening, afternoon, wherever you are, and blessings to you. Bye.